their fees to be part of Main Street. So in part, they are paying for it. But it seems like, you know, if I think of a place where walking and finding your way by looking at the signs and discovering what's there by looking at the signs, I think of Healdsburg. And I look at the sign and I say, well, that sounds like it might be a restaurant I might like to go to. And I go down there and I try to find it, and I bump past all the other stores that are on the way. And to me, that promotes our downtown because it gives a little bit of information. People are curious about it. It's not just cut and dry. There's some more mystery, or there's something that adds to the desire to go down that street. Like, if I don't want to go down to that street because there's all these public buildings there, but if there are 2 stores and we don't mention those stores don't get traffic from people who are curious about that. So, I don't know. I think there's something else to consider here.
Okay. But let's
Okay.
get our public
okay.
input,
Sorry.
and then we can bring it back to the councils.
Sorry.
Further commentary from the Main Street Director?
Well, I just would say that this is a starting point, and it is directing them from the parking lot areas where they may be parked. And I think that in the future, that maybe we could consider that. But I think for a good starting point, to do the way that we're going with the map there for the public to be able to pick up the map, which I was hoping to be able to bring you a draft of tonight. The artist wasn't quite ready with it, but we're very excited about this shopping and dining guide, which is going to be featured and easily accessible for anybody that's walking by the signs. So that should help a lot. And there are almost 200 businesses in the historic downtown core. So that's a lot of businesses, like Sage said, to try and initially put on 5 signs.
Further public help?
Judy Pruden. I'm also chair of the design committee, which is kicked this into high gear. I got tired of talking about it for 2 years, and also on the Main Street board. To meet your concerns, Mary Ann, a lot of discussion went into this. We're aware that being the county seat, literally dozens, if not hundreds of people come into the downtown core every day, you know, doing jury duty and other court functions and so forth. And what would work best on these signs? You know, the reality is the structure can hold anything that we desire to have on it. You know, we're asking for funding of the structure. Now, these signs can be painted, and if we find that, in fact, it's not necessary to see the say courthouse direction on one of the signs, that we could change it out into a different language. It's just a sign that can be inserted and a new one
Could change what's
could
in
change with that.
That's
I'm of the opinion, for example, on Stanley Street, after they closed the north side of the courthouse, that used to have as much flow as the south side on Perkins as people came out those side steps. And then due to security reasons and 9/11, they've created kind of a dead zone over there. I think that we should not just point to shopping. I think we should say Stanley Street shopping, Church Street shopping, as we begin to create little entities within this. Certainly down at the library, we will say the Main Street shopping district. Those kinds of things create identity, create interest, I think, into our visitors. And they go, oh, Main Street shopping district, who knew? Well, I guarantee you about half this town apparently will probably be saying, who knew? So I think that through some creative use of language in a more general fashion, we can begin to create these pockets with that. Initially, like I said, we simply could not manage several hundred businesses, and they're kind of a moving target in the downtown. So we did think that perhaps the brochure, and I agree with you, if we're going to be putting individual business names on a sign, they need to pay for that. But that's probably the lesser or the least cost involved, getting these signs up and installed. There is one modification from the staff report, and we discussed this with design committee. We think that the sign should be power coated in the burgundy or darker plum. Don't think purple, think more of the reddish brown hues. They match the current signage that is up that the city uses. They have the city, the Civic Center, and then they have listings. And perhaps in the browns and off-white tones for the signs. So we're looking for aesthetic component because shoppers are very sophisticated. People are much more sophisticated about their shopping experience, and they want the amenities and a nicer look. So we're looking at these both as an aesthetic statement and hopefully a practical statement, and one that allows people then to move around our city. If you've ever done jury duty, and I've been called in many, many times, you'll have a whole room full of jury people that sometimes held over for lunch, and they all will say to, who's from Ukiah? And then you have to tell literally 60 people where's the best places to eat. And I've done that many, many times. So we're hoping with these signs that we can create interest with our daily business of serving the entire county as a county seat. And if you have any suggestions as to how we could fine-tune these signs that would create that kind of curiosity, we're open to any kind of narrative change on the signs. But I do think that the map and on the back side, the listing of all the businesses will be a good start, and then evolve from there if necessary.
Distance is not going to be mentioned. For example, the distance to your historic home, 6 blocks is not going to be.
Well, you know, the fact that you can spit across the city on most days, it's a pretty doggone small town. I don't know how much you want to put on those. We're going to have a sign that points to historical homes going up Perkins. As soon as they get up to Pine Street, they're going to notice the first set of historical homes as they continue to walk a few more blocks. True. So we think most of the stuff is, we're putting these signs, so basically one sign in a parking lot will lead you up to another set of signs, so it sort of almost will take you on a circuit to different points. The exception is the Grace Hudson, but theoretically, even the one down at the plaza could lead you to the Grace Hudson.
Thank you very much. Further council questions or discussion? What? Oh, I apologize. Councilmember Thomas.
On the allocation of identities for each sign, the number ranges between 5 and 9. Is that just kind of a rough draft at this point, subject to review later on? I mean, will we go to 9 on every one? Is 9 too many? If you tell me that you're considering that, that's all I need to know.
I believe it's in consideration.
Thank you.
They need to be personalized and tailored for the site.
Councilmember Crane.
What sort of quantities of brochures are anticipated? What sort of quantity of those are likely to wind up in the street rather than being properly disposed of?
Main Street actually does have, as part of their work, is to maintain the downtown area, and as far as, looking out for those kinds of problems and getting right on them right away. So I don't imagine that's going to be a problem that would get out of hand for very long, and because they'd be watching for that. Joy, do you have any comments on that?
Well, Doug, all of us pick up trash downtown, and so far, I think there may be a few, but if we see that an area is being consistently emptied out and scattered,
Been considered.
We would look in to see what the problem was, but overall, I find in other communities, people seem to be fairly respectful of the paper product, and if I think we put please recycle, we'll probably have people pick up a brochure and possibly return it to another little holder, very much like the park system does. You would hope for the best.
All right, and then the other observation is that it really appears to be, to me, 2 components. One is the signage, and the other is the brochures. And if it's to get attention for people to pick up the brochures, it seems like a whole lot for a brochure dispenser. There's a lot of things that I wonder if